I moved to Minneapolis from North Dakota about 3 years ago. And in August, my son agreed to, or offered to take a day off from his summer job. We went to Dakota County because he lives in Egan, and got there about 10 o'clock, probably in the morning. We went to Dakota County because we thought the lines would be shorter. And there was a long line going all the way out the door as I waited to get my turn to take the written exam that they do on computers. So we stood in that line for probably 45 minutes or longer. And it finally got to be my turn. I took the test and then went back, stood in another line to get my permit, I think it was, and pay my fee for taking the test and getting the license. It was $18, I think. And then I went and stood in another line. By this time, it was close to noon, and people were taking lunch breaks. So I stood in another line to get up to the counter to get the paperwork I needed to fill out for the actual license. And they took my paperwork from the test and then told me that I'd have to, and they looked at my ID and from North Dakota and told me that I'd have to have a certified birth certificate. Well, I had a birth certificate, the one I've always used. But they told me it wasn't certified, so I'd have to get the official birth certificate. So my son and I got in the car, drove to Hennepin County, went to Southdale, and of course there was a line there and they were on lunch break. So we waited another 45 minutes for my number to be called, and I paid my $15 and got a certified copy of my birth certificate. So we went back to Dakota County. It was probably 1:30, 2 o'clock by this time. And they took that, sent me to another line where I would have my picture taken. And so I got in that line and finally got to the front of the line after another half hour, 45 minutes. And they said, but you don't have your divorce and your marriage certificates or whatever, and official papers. Then they told us we'd have to go get those in Hennepin County. So back in the car, back to Southdale, stand in a line, finally pay out another $15 or maybe more by that time, and got my marriage and divorce papers and brought them back, and we were pushing 4:30, which is closing time at Dakota. But we barged in, and I insisted that they take care of me because I'd been running around all day, and I knew I wouldn't be able to get back there. I was exhausted by that time, and I did finally get my license. It took 3 weeks to get it in the mail, and when it came, it had my first and middle names transposed so that it was the wrong name. And calling to get that taken care of was a whole other story.